situation where you have to figure out what you don't want, you will never understand what you want.
Hello, high achiever. Welcome to the Inside Job Journey podcast. I'm Tiana, a certified professional coach. I work with highly effective and driven people that are always striving for more, helping them define what that more is and learning what they really want. In this podcast, I want to bring you on a discovery journey where you can learn more about what's driving you to never settle. This episode is over. However, you can like, subscribe, and follow for more content. And I'm happy to announce an amazing giveaway. For every like and share, you will gain 5 points. Tag me on social media or send me a screen. And the top 3 engagers until end of December will have an amazing opportunity to work with me. First prize, 2 sessions of 45 minutes each to brainstorm and set up your 2023 goals. Achieve anything you want in the new year with my strategic support and review. Second prize, 1 session of 45 minutes to review your 2023 goals and 1 follow-up feedback via email. Third prize, share your goal via email and get feedback and suggestions in 1 week.
If you've never been in a situation where you have to figure out what you don't want, you will never understand what you want. Journey again, and how do they refine them, reconnect to themselves? And so I think the coaching is a very good technique for us to help them to have that conversation with themselves, to how to say, to find a key, and even just to look around in their own rooms, the mind room, what they need, what they already have, before they decide, which window they want to open, where do they want to replace a door, etc. I like to use this as a metaphor. So actually in Chinese, with the teenager session, I call myself, or they call me, the feng shui master of mind. That's just a way of saying the coaching can be a feng shui in mind.
Amazing. So when you find yourself at the beginning of the journey with one of your clients, what are some of the things that work for them to start looking around that room and to finding that key?
I think very often the big question is always, who am I? Especially when we are out of the familiar context of our cultural context or social context. We look around and we say, okay, where do I go? But before then, why should I go there? And before then, what makes me want to go there? And before then, who am I? So it's very often many steps thinking, but if we trace one step back, it comes to the self-acceptance and self-doubt, to realize, am I happy with who I am? Do I accept who I am? And also, what makes who I am? It very, very often turns out to be very essential questions.
Yeah, and it's not an easy answer, right?
No, not at
Who
all.
I am. It's such a big topic. When you start looking into yourself, there are so many things going on. And as you
Mhm.
say, some self-reflection around what are the limiting beliefs and some of the things that are um, weighting us down, but also understanding and taking full responsibility of who we
Exactly.
are and seeing really who we are, because sometimes we have a different perception of who we are
Mhm.
versus what others see about ourselves. So
Yeah,
does that happen with your clients?
it does. It does. And it always reminds me of the, the Miserable, that the musical that the Jean Valjean would always sing, "Who am I?" And then his answer was, he decided to answer with his number, his cell number. And I think I always find it very interesting. And I think when he say that, we embraces who that actually that number can be accepted by him. That means he accepted his circumstances, he accepted his the decision he has made in the past, and take it from there.
Yeah.
It's sort of a brave closure of the past, just focusing on the present in order. And so there's no self-negligence, there's no self-denial, embracing everything that you was 24601. You were like, oh, 24601. And it was the best piece in that actually the best sentence and my favorite sentence in that entire musical, because it represents the strength, the embracement, and the determination to move on.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing that I notice when I support people is that oftentimes they think about what they want to do, what is the next step, how to get there, and very little they think about who they want to be.
Mm,
And I think that's a really powerful, because the first step is recognizing who you are today, but then think about who you want to be to then reverse engineer the steps that you need to take to become that person.
absolutely. And also taking all the accountabilities instead of, because very often clients may, at a certain point, think about how much they are influenced by external factors, other people, other cultures, other narratives. Um, but I think it's important to look into ourselves and say, what is my narrative? If other narrative can influence mine, that means I allow them to influence me. That the allowance that allowance, is it how it's called, is from our narrative. If I decide that your narrative is stronger than mine, then that's my decision. That's what is influencing me. So again, it's back to who we are. Yeah. So you're
And
absolutely
getting
right.
getting that power back,
Yeah.
taking full accountability and saying, yeah, I see, I can understand the things that are surrounding me, but I'm taking action for the things that I can control. And I take accountability and I decide to
Absolutely.
do the steps.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was still thinking about your metaphor of the room and the key, and I just want to go with the flow and ask you, maybe do you want to guide us or guide me into that metaphor? And let's try to see what comes up for me.
Okay. Well, where do we start? You have got to pick a room. What about the keys? Yeah. Where do you want to go?
Yeah, I have this very clean image of a pretty empty room, to be honest, in the
Mhm.
sense of very clean, very organized. But on the other side, I keep adding things into it. So I have pictures, I have paintings, I have memorabilia.
Uh-huh.
So it still looks good, but it's a little bit less orderly.
I see. Yeah, that's interesting that you use a lot of you have as if that's something you own.
Mm. Oh my gosh, yes. Ah, and it reconnects, right, to the fact that we tend to want things or
Mm,
want external factors, and it's not that I'm describing things that are there and not really
mhm.
how I feel in that room or what I see. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
How do you like that question? I think very often it's really to see that things we shouldn't see, or to unsee things instead of to to do sorry to think about what we need to do with those things, because maybe we should think about the possibility of unseeing them.
Right. And just as I'm speaking, it's just that they are there. It doesn't mean that I can't move things around, that
Mhm.
I don't have any power over the things that are there. It's just, I'm thinking maybe I don't even need to stay in that room.
So there you go. Good discovery.
Ah,
So I guess we don't need a key then. The
yeah,
key is the
definitely.
key is no key.
Mhm. Yeah, like I see clearly the path to go out without even struggling to see how. Like there is a clear path that I can see, and it's just moving one step forward, the other.
Glad.
Oh my gosh. You see, I just wanted to experiment this because sometimes when we
Yeah.
have the things in our own head,
Mhm.
it it's all blurry and it feels like too much and there are too many things. And then you externalize it and magically,
Definitely.
of course, it's not magic, but um, it becomes clearer, right?
It does. It does. And very often it happens in 1 second. It's it's so easy that we trap ourselves in so many in those thoughts and the vivid pictures that we paint, which are all very true, very important to us, and we want to see them for some reason. Um, they are important to us for some reason, and we just haven't found a place to. And we don't need to get rid of them. We need to find a place for them to stay where they are. They are part of us, and we don't deny them. Um, but we are, I guess we with the technique that we provide for our clients is to help them like you just did. You turn around, you said, okay, no door is my door. Well, you ask for a key, but you remove the door yourself, so you don't even need a key anymore.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So once they find the key or they realize that there is no door, what are some of the important steps that are critical for them to really take action toward uh, that future where they feel empowered and they know who they are?
That's a really, really good question. I think the answer to it is quite complex. And I've been reading some research paper, and I think for them to take actions, not only about motivation or intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation will help them engage in our process during the coaching process. But for them to come back next time, they might actually need to deal with a deeper issue. Their emotion when they confront the situation. So when we're sitting here, we say, okay, I know I can remove the door, and all of a sudden that's a realization, lightens up everything. The next time when the thought comes in, what are they gonna do? They have two options. One is tell themselves, it's the action of, I tell myself I don't need a door, or I put an effort to think about why I don't need a door. So these are the two things, and they are the actions that the client needs to take in order to maintain the open door. And these two actions actually involve completely two different things. One is, do I engage with how I feel? Do I want to confront myself when I look at the door? I actually have a negative feeling, or I have some strong emotions that I need to deal with. And that is something that I think client also needs the guidance to decide whether or not they want to deal with that. And I think if that is being confronted to, together with the guidance, perhaps with the coach, then that will change that will help them engage in the action process. So one is to help them figure out what it was that's blocking them or that's stopping them. And the second is what stops them from taking actions. So there are two things that need to be dealt with.
Yeah, and definitely the easier path is just to say, hey, let's auto-convince myself that the door is not there, then just confront why I put the door, why
Yes.
certain things are hard, and etc.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your own journey. How did you become a coach for expats and female leaders for this specific topic?
I think the whole thing is about self-salvation, right? I remember people told us that we should coach, we should engage in the part, or we should, how do you say, when we have felt the pain, we can do that part the best. And I think everything I've been through, I grew up in Taiwan, and then I left 17 years ago. And since then, I've been moving around and also been confronted with a lot of issues. So culture shocks, I've been through all the stages, 5 or 7, depending on different theories, right? And several times even. So I came to Hungary, I went to Germany, went to China. Even in China, I had such a culture shock that people wouldn't believe me. You also speak the language. Why do you have cars? I went, no, well, it's completely different culture. And the fact that you don't understand me is another shock. So, and also I had to literally throw away everything that I built up in Taiwan. Or at that time, it felt like that. It was just I deconstructed myself. I had to find a new profession. I had to learn a new language, and I had to look like this, what they call the first immigration generation. So as if I became transparent, and nobody saw me, or nobody remembered who I used to be, what I used to be able to do, and everything I built up right now. Since I left Taiwan, everything became zero. And I think it was quite of a shock for me, or it was scary. And it also gave me a tremendous opportunity to internalize what I want. Okay, now I can rebuild. How do I want to do it? And it also put me in a place where I could see clearly what I want from the external voice, what is doing good to me, what is not good doing good to me during this rebuilding process. And I became extremely sensitive to people's narratives and voices. Not necessarily, of course, there are times when I would take them as harmed. So I was also learning to understand how I take other narratives and how they look at me. So over time, it just made my shield so much stronger. And in the end, I know I could decide what should come through, what should stay on my side, what should stay outside. And it also gave me the tolerance. I also understood why people think a certain way about me or about the things around them. So it gave me the chance to understand others, the world, the narrative, and also I became more tolerant. Yeah.
It must been hard to deconstruct yourself and then reconstruct. If you could go back and do something differently, what would that be?
Nothing. I think I want to go through the whole thing again. Knowing where I am right now, everything made sense. And I think there's no regret. And I think the biggest learning in the past is people make mistakes. And I can make mistakes. I can fall and come back. If I could change something, okay, I know I would. I would take on the coaching course or learn the technique a bit earlier. So I already told my kid, at your university graduation gift is going to be a coaching course. I'm gonna pay for it. You'll go in, and if you want to go on a higher level, you pay for yourself. But that's the gift I'm going to give you. And I wish I had taken that so much earlier. Yeah.
And while you were speaking, one thing came about again, it was acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not wanting anything different because you have accepted all the things that you have gone through and you have learned from it. And it's such a powerful tool, acceptance. What are
Yes.
some of the things that people can do to improve their acceptance, or what are some of the things that helped you build that?
I think it's a good question. I think always we say if you want to move forward, you move backward a little bit, right? So if you want to accept the things first, is not to accept. So you draw a boundary and see what happens. You build a fence. You say this is where you can come, where you can't come, and you look at. Then you have a chance to. I think it's a horrible thing to say, but you create conflict internally or externally, sort of, just to understand what you want. So if you've never been in a situation where you have to figure out what you don't want, you will never understand what you want. Yeah.
Critical what you don't want.
Yeah.
So many people think about all the things that they want and they don't even consider thinking about what they don't want, what it's draining them, what it's limiting them. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's just so powerful to remove the things that we don't want.
Yeah.
the space and the energy that you get back?
Yes. Yeah, I think this language can really shape the way we think. I firmly believe. So if we keep on using a certain, I think I notice very often I try to challenge my client with the word they use. And you are also, I'm sure you are very experienced in that as well, because I remember once you did that to me. You noticed the pattern that I had. I don't remember what it was, but it was very powerful. And I remember I was shocked for a long time. You know, the fact is I don't even remember that anymore. I think I've gotten rid of that.
I think it was something around uh, being stuck in, you know, the terrain was somehow engulfing you, blocking you. I remember something
Yeah.
like that. I don't know, but it was really, really an amazing session. I remember that feeling of relief.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that too. This is see, it's also the thing when we are engaging in the coaching process, they remember that feeling. And often I speak to my previous clients who came back a couple of times. They could clearly cite the feeling they got from a question I asked that I don't even remember anymore. So we just to know it had been 6 months, you know, they still remember. And it made me very happy, and I know how powerful it could be, even if then as a coach, I don't even remember what I did.
Right.
And so yeah, language is very powerful, and it really shapes it can free us, it can also shape our limitation in our own mind.
Yeah, definitely. Then that
Yeah.
inner dialogue and all the things that we think without even realizing. I think that when you emerge all that,
Yeah.
you know, underground, it's really powerful.
Yeah.
So one last thing before we close this episode, I wanted to ask you if you mentioned how powerful was taking the coaching training.
Mhm.
So what would you say to someone that wants to change their life and somehow don't trust yet coaching?
Mhm. I said, yeah, keep feeling skeptical, but there's no but. Keep feeling skeptical. Go for a person you can speak to. Um, oh, do you mean if we want to convince a client to try it, or do you mean um, when somebody wants to take on course?
No, I mean someone sitting on the fence wanting to change
Mm,
their life and not trusting fully the coaching process.
mm, yeah, good question. Um, my usual my usual way is, well, then you have to go on one side or the other to figure out. If you are on the fence, that is also a place. The doubting is real. I mean, you have to look at the doubts. So we can't be forced to choose side, and not choosing side is also a decision. And so we can look at that certain decision and see what is stopping a person in believing in something, or making a decision to believe in something or not believe in something. Because on the fence is no left or right. I don't know if it will work. I also don't know. It's almost like the lazy couch place, or I know one more minute won't change. Well, it's okay. I stay here for 1 more minute, but the time will come when you will have to get up and go to the toilet, right?
I love
You
this.
can't be on the couch, on the fan.
Forever. Like when you try not to go on the bathroom while there is still 5 minutes to end the film, and you're like, I can't.
I know it's always like almost like, oh, I don't want to, it's so cold, I don't want to go to the bathroom, but I think I can hold on, it's fine. But the time will come and we will know what to do.
Amazing. What a wonderful way to finish our discussion. Thank you so much, May. It was
Glad,
an
I'm very glad, my
amazing,
pleasure.
amazing experience. Thank you so much.
Very welcome.
This episode is over. However, you can like, subscribe, and follow for more content. And I'm happy to announce an amazing giveaway. For every like and share, you will gain 5 points. Tag me on social media or send me a screen. And the top 3 engagers until end of December will have an amazing opportunity to work with me. First prize, 2 sessions of 45 minutes each to brainstorm and set up your 2023 goals. Achieve anything you want in the new year with my strategic support and review. Second prize, 1 session of 45 minutes to review your 2023 goals and 1 follow-up feedback via email. Third prize, share your goal via email and get feedback and suggestions in 1 week.